Mental scripting. Ever rehearse a whole argument in your head just for the actual conversation to never happen? That's mental scripting. Your brain prepares for battle, then waves the white flag in real life. It's why you spend hours crafting the perfect speech for the coworker who microwaved fish, only to walk out in silence when it actually happens. The worst part? You always win in your head. In reality, you'll probably just say, it's fine. Ostracism. Being ignored hurts more than being yelled at. That's because your brain treats rejection like physical pain. Back in caveman days, getting kicked out from the tribe meant death. Now, it just means your group chat made plans without you. But the reaction is the same. Your brain screams you're gonna end up alone, surrounded by cats. Relax, it's just brunch. But if they always leave you out, maybe get better friends. Or those cats. The Google Maps trap. Ever followed GPS straight into traffic? Or worse, a lake? That's because your brain sometimes trusts technology a bit too much over common sense. GPS says, turn left, and suddenly you're at a stranger's backyard barbecue, holding a plate. Welcome to your new life. Hope you like potato salad. Linguistic relativity. The language you speak changes how you think. Some languages have no future tense. Others have 50 words for snow. Bilingual people act differently depending on which language they're using. Why? Because words shape perception. If your language is too polite, you'll struggle to roast people. If you only speak Gen Z slang, good luck explaining literally anything to your skibbity sigma grandma. The fresh start effect. New year, new me. Until February 2nd, when new me orders pizza at midnight. Your brain gives a motivational boost on fresh start days, New Year's, Mondays, birthdays, because it tricks itself into thinking, this time will be different. It rarely is. The effect fades fast, leaving you back at square one. That's why gyms are full in January and ghost towns in March. The secret? Don't wait for a date, just start. The pratfall effect. Mess up a little, and people love you for it. Trip, charming, spill your drink, relatable. It's why celebrities accidentally drop things on talk shows. It tricks you into thinking they're human. The trick? Small mistakes equals likable. Huge ones? Not so much. Trip on the sidewalk? Hilarious. Trip into a wedding cake and set the bride's dress on fire? Well, not so sure that one's gonna win you any points. Effort versus reward mismatch. Ever work super hard on something and get zero payoff? Meanwhile, while someone does half the work and wins, that's the effort-reward mismatch. Hard work should equal success, but reality just laughs. Some jobs reward actual effort. Others reward luck, nepotism, or pretending to type really fast. The lesson? Work smart, not just hard. Because if life were fair, the guy who supervises would be broke and moms would run the economy. The Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Learned a weird new word like spelunking and suddenly it's everywhere? No, reality didn't change. Your brain did. Once you notice something, your brain highlights it, making it feel more common. It's the same reason you keep seeing the car you just bought. It was always there. You just weren't paying attention. Annoying, right? Congrats, you've unlocked a new level of awareness. Now, good luck unseeing it. By the way, how many of you know what spelunking is? Moral licensing. I ate a salad today, so I deserve cake. That's moral licensing. When you do one good thing and immediately reward yourself with a bad one. It's why people donate to charity and then act entitled for a month. Or why you tell yourself walking to the fridge cancels out eating 5 brownies. Your brain thinks good cancels bad, but nope, life isn't math. Enjoy the cake, liar. Belief perseverance. Even after being proven wrong, your brain digs in deeper. Why? Because admitting you were wrong hurts. It feels like an attack on your identity. That's why conspiracy theorists don't just back down and say, oh, wow, maybe Finland actually exists. Nope, they double down, now denying the existence of Sweden too. Your brain hates losing, so it clings to bad ideas out of pure stubbornness. Accept new info, or go ahead and keep thinking the moon is a hologram. Ambiguity aversion. Ever avoided a risky but possibly great choice just because it wasn't clear enough? That's ambiguity aversion. Your brain hates uncertainty so much that it prefers a bad but predictable option over an unknown but potentially better one. That's why people pick safe, boring jobs instead of risking something better, or why nobody orders the mystery-flavored drink. Uncertainty isn't always bad. Sometimes the weird mystery flavor is actually just blue raspberry, but sometimes it's not. The doorway effect. You walk into a room, stop and think, wait, why am I here? Congrats, your brain just reset like a Windows update. This happens because walking through doors wipes your short-term memory. Your brain assumes you're starting a new task. It's the same reason you forget what you were saying mid-sentence. The fix? Walk back to where you started. Spin around 3 times like a confused dog and hope your brain catches up. If not, congrats, you're now an NPC. The Proteus effect. Make your video game character a buff warrior and suddenly you walk around like you own the place. Your online avatar changes your real-world behavior. People with cool profile pics act bolder, and players with attractive characters flirt more. Basically, digital you influences real you. So if you've been using a cringe name and a cartoon frog avatar since 2013, maybe that explains some things. The streetlight effect. A policeman sees a drunk guy searching under a streetlight and asks, "What are you looking for?" My keys. Did you lose them here? No, I lost them in the park. Then why are you looking here? Because it's where the light is. That's the trap. Your brain searches where it's easy, not where the answer is. If you only look where it's convenient, you'll never find what you're actually missing. The broken escalator effect. Step onto a stopped escalator, and suddenly your legs forget how to function. Your brain pre-programmed movement, but the floor betrayed you. Now you're stumbling like a malfunctioning robot. It's the same reason missing a stair makes you feel like you're free-falling into another dimension. Basically, your brain hates surprises. So if you ever see someone wobbling on an escalator, don't judge. They're just losing a fight with physics. The identifiable victim effect. 1 million people suffer? That's sad. But 1 puppy in danger? Tears. Your brain isn't built for big numbers. It craves personal stories. That's why charities show a single starving child instead of a statistic. It's why news highlights one tragic story instead of an entire conflict. Your emotions don't run on logic, they run on relatability. And let's be honest, the puppy eyes win every time. The dramatic exposure effect. Why does blasting music make some people feel cooler, stronger, and ready to take on the world? Because your brain links loudness to importance. That's why concerts feel electric. Horror movies are scarier with volume up, and why people yell when arguing. Louder equals more intense. It even tricks your brain into liking songs more. Try watching Jaws on mute. It's just a confused fish. Also explains why bad singers just scream harder. Still bad. The hollow face illusion. Ever see a mask that looks like it's watching you? Your brain hates hollow spaces, so it fills them with imaginary depth. That's why some statues feel like they're judging you and why paintings have haunted eyes. It's just an illusion, but if a mask ever winks at you, yeah, forget science, you need to move. The spotlight theft effect. Your friend gets a promotion, and suddenly you feel like a failure. Why? Their success didn't take anything from you, but your brain sees life as a scoreboard, even when nobody's keeping score. That's why social media makes people miserable. Someone else winning doesn't mean you're losing. Unless they bought the last donut you were eyeing, then yeah, that was a personal attack. Avoidance of closure. Ever stopped watching a great show right before the last episode? That's your brain avoiding endings. Closure makes things real, and your brain hates that. It's why people leave texts unread, never finish books, or keep almost breaking up for 6 months. No ending equals no consequences. But hey, maybe if you never finish it, you can pretend it had a good ending. Unlike Game of Thrones. The phantom phone syndrome. Ever felt your phone vibrate, checked, and nothing? Yeah, your brain just made that up. It's so used to notifications that it hallucinates them, like a needy pet waiting for attention. Your nervous system expects a buzz, so when none comes, it fakes one. Your brain is basically so desperate for attention, it's sending itself ghost texts. Humble brag effect. Oh, wow, I totally forgot how exhausting first-class flights are. Yikes. Humble brags are worse than normal bragging because they pretend to be modest. But come on, they backfire instantly because everyone sees right through them. Saying, "Ugh, my bonus check was so big it barely fit my wallet," is still annoying, but at least it's honest. False closure. Ever thought you finished something only to realize you absolutely didn't? That's false closure. Your brain checks out too early and leaves you looking dumb, like celebrating the end of a test, then flipping over the paper and seeing a whole back page, or walking out of the store without the one thing you went in for. But sure, keep trusting your memory. It's clearly doing great. The red pen effect. Ever noticed how corrections in red ink feel way harsher? That's because your brain associates red with danger. Stop signs, error messages, and those final notice bills you pretend don't exist. It's why a simple mistake feels like a personal attack when it's marked in red. Same feedback, but now it burns. So if your boss ever emails you in red font, yeah, no need to reply. It's time to pack. Automaticity. Ever driven home and realized you remember none of it? That's automaticity, when you repeat something so often that your brain switches on autopilot. Great for survival skills, terrible for staying present. It's why musicians can play songs while planning dinner, or why you check your phone and instantly forget why. Be careful. 1 minute you're driving, the next you're at Taco Bell ordering the largest combo on the menu with no explanation. The daylight trick. Summer days? Gone in a blink. Winter feels like 7 months of sadness. That's because your brain measures time in daylight, not clocks. Longer days equal more energy, more distractions, less boredom, so time feels faster. Short, dark winter days, pure suffering. So either move somewhere sunny or accept that your couch is now your best friend. The brainstorming illusion. Let's brainstorm as a team. Translation, 2 people talk, everyone else nods, and nothing useful happens. Brainstorming feels productive because there's a lot of talking, but studies show solo thinking works better because groups equal peer pressure and bad ideas no one wants to challenge. So you sit there pretending to agree while internally screaming, "This is garbage." The best ideas happen later, alone, caffeinated, and regretting the meeting's existence. The default effect. Ever stuck with the default option just because it was there? That's this trap. Your brain hates extra effort, so it just goes with whatever's already set. Companies love this. Nobody reads terms and conditions, cancels free trials, or changes settings. That's why your phone tracks everything and why airlines charge extra for seats that should already be included. They know you won't bother. Don't you just love paying extra for laziness? False uniqueness effect. Think you're way more original than you actually are? Hate to break it to you, but you're not special. Everyone thinks their music taste is unique, their jokes are one of a kind, and their dating profile screams personality. Nope. That quirky hobby? Millions of people do it. Your edgy opinions? Twitter's seen worse. The truth, we're statistically average. But hey, at least our moms still think we're special. Locus of control trap. Some people blame everything on fate. Others think everything is their fault. Both are wrong. Your locus of control decides if you see life as destiny or choice. Believe in external control too much? You'll blame luck for everything. Bad job, bad dates, bad hair. Believe in internal control too much? You'll think you caused inflation by ordering extra cheese at McDonald's. Reality, some things are still out of your hands. Thankfully. Stereotype threat. Ever messed something up just because you felt expected to fail? That's a stereotype threat, when simply hearing a stereotype affects your actual performance. If people joke that you're terrible at directions, guess what? You'll start second-guessing every turn. Same reason older folks struggle with tech after being reminded they're bad with computers. Amazing how your brain hears one comment and suddenly decides to be useless. Over-justification effect. Ever turn a fun hobby into a job and now it's ruined? That's the over-justification effect. When rewards get involved, the joy dies. Drawing for fun? Great. Drawing for money? Now it's stress. It's why paying kids to read makes them hate books. The fix? Keep some hobbies just for fun, or risk turning everything you love into one more thing on your to-do list. The overcorrection trap. Tried fixing a mistake and somehow made it 10 times worse? That's this trap. Like oversteering to avoid a pothole. Now you're in a ditch. Or trying to fix uneven eyeliner until you look like a sleep-deprived raccoon. Your brain panics, overcompensates, and ruins everything. So stop before your small fix turns into a full-blown disaster. Or just accept your fate and start a new life. Busy work illusion. You feel so productive, replying to emails, color-coding to-do lists, renaming files like that's going to change your life. But did you actually do anything? Probably not. That's the busy work illusion, where pointless tasks feel like real work. It's why half the office looks busy, but somehow nothing gets done. Typical Friday. The Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. Your brain is lazy. It treats new info like a temporary file. If you don't use it, it gets auto-deleted. That's why you remember song lyrics from 10 years ago, but forgot what you learned yesterday. Without review, memory fades faster than your fitness goals after signing up for an annual gym membership. The boomerang effect. This is a classic mother-in-law move. Ever try convincing someone of something and it backfires? That's because pushing too hard makes people resist. If you force someone to agree, they'll dig in deeper. It's why debates online never work. Tell your friend, you have to watch this show, and now they never will. Suggest, don't demand. Otherwise, congrats. You just made them hate something they would have liked. The clustering illusion. Dropped your phone, stubbed your toe, and spilled coffee all before 9 a.m.? Your brain screams, bad things comes in threes. Nope, that's just the clustering illusion, where random events feel connected. Your brain can't handle randomness, so it invents patterns. It's the same reason people think lucky numbers work. Good news, you weren't cursed today. Bad news, tomorrow won't be magically better either. Curiosity gap. And you won't believe what happened next. What happened next, Matt? Yep, that's the curiosity gap. Our brain craves closure, and clickbait teases it just enough to keep us hooked. Sneaky, right? Illusion of control. Why do we blow on dice before rolling them? It gives us the illusion of control. We overestimate our ability to influence random events. Blowing on dice doesn't change anything. But hey, it feels powerful, especially when playing Monopoly, and you don't want to end up on someone's hotel. Zeigarnik effect. It's already midnight, and tomorrow I've got to wake up for work, but just one more episode. Well, that's the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks annoy our brains. We crave the complete story, and streaming platforms, they know this. Why do you think they added the autoplay button? Google effect. Do you feel a bit smarter after Googling something? Well, that's the Google effect. Access to information makes us feel like we know more, but really, we're just good at searching. But that also counts, right? Apophenia. Why do bad things seem to happen in threes? Your brain loves finding patterns, even when there aren't any. So, if you get a flat tire, forget your lunch, and spill water on your phone all in one day, your brain will make it feel like those random mishaps are somehow connected, like the universe is messing with you. Social proof. Oh, that is hilarious, John. Such a good joke. Except, not even close. You're just laughing because everyone else is laughing and because John is your girlfriend's dad. That's social proof. If others are doing something, we assume it's the right thing to do. It's also why you often end up liking songs more after you see hundreds of people dancing to them online. Next in line effect. Hi Matt, my name is Emily. Nice to meet you, Emma? If you forget someone's name the second they tell it to you, that's because of the next in line effect. Your brain is just too busy thinking about what you'll say next. Say their name aloud. It helps. Or you're just a lost cause. Hedonic treadmill. Why doesn't happiness last? You buy the new gadget or land your dream job, and as soon as it feels normal, your brain adjusts, always chasing the next big high. The treadmill never stops. Illusory truth effect. Ever hear a lie so often you start to believe it? That's the illusory truth effect. Repetition makes anything feel true, even if it's nonsense like cats always land on their feet. Please, don't try it. Chauffeur knowledge. You most likely have this one friend who sounds smart but is really just repeating stuff they overheard. That's chauffeur knowledge. It's like someone confidently explaining how wine has notes of oak and blackberry, but they couldn't tell Merlot from grape juice. Decoy effect. Be honest, how many times have you bought the medium popcorn because the small seemed tiny and the large was overpriced? That's the decoy effect. Companies often use an intentionally bad option to steer you toward the one they actually want you to pick. False consensus effect. Think people agree with you more than they do? That's the false consensus effect. We overestimate how much others share our opinions. Trust me, not everyone loves Love is Blind or cognitive dissonance. A good example of this is justifying a dumb purchase by saying, I deserved it. Our brain hates conflict, so it creates excuses to make our actions match our emotions. Spotlight effect. Do you ever feel like all eyes are on you because of a bad hair day or the coffee stain on your shirt? That's the spotlight effect. You think everyone's paying attention, but don't worry. They're too busy worrying about their own lives. Trust me, you're not the star of their story. They are. Neglect of probability. We get scared of big, dramatic dangers, like in Jaws, but ignore everyday risks, even when the chances of those are much higher. IKEA effect. Why does that wobbly shelf you built feel so special? The IKEA effect. When we invest effort into creating something, we value it much more, even if it's not exactly perfect. Your uneven DIY table? Priceless. Near miss effect. Next try, it's mine. Ever feel like you're this close to winning, but just missed it? The near miss effect makes you believe that you're about to succeed because you almost got it the last time and the 5 before. Casinos and carnival games know this. That's why you're $20 deep for a stuffed panda. Optimism bias. That could never happen to me. Yeah, sure. The optimism bias tricks us into believing we're less likely to face negative events, just like assuming you'll never lose your phone, even though you've already left it on restaurant tables more times than you can count. Reality check, none of us are as exempt as we like to think. Sunk cost fallacy. Look, there is a new Taken movie playing. That must be good. And it wasn't. But you sat through the whole movie because you already paid for the ticket. Your brain insists, don't waste the money, even though wasting your time is even worse. Time perception bias. Feel like time speeds up as you age? That's time perception bias. As we get older, a year feels shorter compared to the years we've lived. Remember when summers felt like a lifetime? Now they're just 2 paychecks. Lake Wobegon effect. Do you think you're a better driver than most people? Of course you do. This is the Lake Wobegon effect, where we all overestimate our skills, whether it's parallel parking or cooking, and assume we're above average. Fun fact, the name comes from a fictional town where all the children are above average, even though that's mathematically impossible. Or is it? Zero price effect. Have you ever added something pricey to your cart just to qualify for free shipping? That's the zero price effect. Free feels magical, so much so that we forget we're actually spending more to get it. Halo effect. This guy has a nice watch and shirt. He must be pretty smart. This is pretty common. One impressive trait, like being well-dressed or confident, makes us believe the person must be good at everything. Like that colleague who always talks about investing, but still can't figure out how to turn on the calculator. Politeness theory. I always wanted a calendar with pictures of capybaras. Yeah, we both know you didn't. The politeness theory says that we lie to avoid hurting feelings or creating awkward situations, just like saying, I love it, about a gift you don't really want. Negativity bias. Ever read product reviews and only focus on the bad ones? Negative experiences weigh heavier on our brains than positive ones, and that's the negativity bias. One bad comment? Ruined. 10 compliments? Forgotten. Trust me, I know how that feels. YouTube can be a cruel place. Authority bias. We automatically tend to trust people who seem confident. It tricks us into thinking someone is knowledgeable, even when they're not. Planning fallacy. Start a project and think you'll finish in record time? That's me every time. We underestimate how long things take, whether it's cleaning the garage or writing a YouTube script. Actor-observer bias. Simple example. You cut someone off in traffic and think, it's fine, I'm in a rush. But when someone does it to you, they are a jerk. We tend to excuse our own actions but blame others for doing the same thing. Rosy retrospection. Good old days, right? Why does nostalgia make everything feel better? That's rosy retrospection. The past seems perfect because our brain cuts out the boring or bad parts. Mood congruence. This explains why breakup songs are always the best when we're heartbroken. When we're feeling sad, we're more drawn to sad music because it reflects our emotions. Sometimes a playlist can be the best therapist. Time distortion. All right, time for a quick quiz. What makes time feel like it's flying faster? Hanging out with your friends, lunch with your mother-in-law, or Monday meetings? We all know the answer. Fun speeds up time. Boredom stretches it. It's why those Monday morning meetings last forever, but lunch break is over in a blink. Social facilitation. Have you ever noticed how we tend to laugh more in a group? Emotions amplify in crowds. That's what makes horror movies scarier when watched with friends and live shows so energetic. Mere exposure effect. Think you're immune to ads? Nope. The mere exposure effect says otherwise. The more you see something, the more you like it. That's why jingles get stuck in your head. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Peekend rule. What do you remember from your last vacation? The weather, the food, or perhaps the fresh air? Not the airport lines, crowded buses, and street scammers. We tend to judge an experience mostly by how we felt at the peak and at the end. That's also why the biggest hit usually comes last at concerts. Dunning-Kruger effect. Everyone's an expert on something trendy, but don't forget that people with the least knowledge often overestimate themselves, while true experts tend to doubt. Confidence doesn't always equal competence. Infinite scroll design. How often do you just keep scrolling even though you're tired? That's infinite scroll design. Platforms make it hard to stop by removing natural stopping points. Your thumb? Addicted. Hindsight bias. I always knew they were going to win. Did you really? What about the talks before the match started? This bias is also known as the knew-it-all-along phenomenon. After something happens, we convince ourselves it was predictable from the very start, even if it wasn't. Cocktail party effect. Why does your name catch your attention in a noisy room? Your brain blocks out most of the noise, but when it hears something important or personal to you, like your name, it instantly grabs your attention. Cheers. Action bias. Ever feel the need to do something in a crisis, even if it's completely useless? That's action bias. Inaction feels wrong, so we jump into action, even if sitting tight would be the smarter move. Loss aversion. Why does losing $10 hurt more than finding $10 feels good? Our brain hates losing more than it enjoys winning. It's also why we often hold on to bad investments. We're trying to avoid admitting defeat. Bystander effect. This can be quite dangerous. When we see someone in need of help and there are other people around, we might think someone else will help. However, the more people there are, the less likely anyone is to act. The cure? Be the one who steps up. Don't wait for others. Illusion of averages. Imagine walking through a river that's, on average, 3 feet deep. Sounds safe, right? But if some parts are 6 feet deep, you're drowning. The illusion of averages hides extremes and makes stats misleading. Endowment effect. Why is it so hard to get rid of old junk? Thank the endowment effect. Once you own something, you assign it more value than it actually has. Illusory correlation. I always beat you at golf when I wear my lucky socks. Well, perhaps you have some special socks that give you golfing superpowers, but most likely your brain is just linking two unrelated things. It's the same reason people think their horoscope predicted their breakup. No, Becky, it didn't. Pygmalion effect. Do you perform better when someone believes in you? That's the Pygmalion effect. High expectations can actually boost our performance, like when a teacher assumed you're a genius, so you started acting like one. Priming. A common situation. You're shopping at a mall, and the speakers are playing a catchy jingle. On your way home, you catch yourself humming it nonstop. That's priming. Exposure to subtle cues influences your thoughts and actions later. It's why seeing a fast food ad during a TV show suddenly makes you crave fries, even if you weren't hungry. Advertisers are experts at this. Your cravings are no accident. Self-serving bias. Why is it easier to claim every success and blame others for every failure? It's because of our need to protect our self-esteem and our tendency to perceive ourselves in a more positive light. Failed the group project? Definitely Chad's fault. Groupthink. Meetings can feel productive, but most of the time, they aren't. When everyone just wants to agree, bad ideas get ignored because no one wants to speak up. Do it. It might save the day and make the meeting actually productive. Deja vu. Those are the moments when it really feels like we live in a simulation. The moments you feel like you've lived this moment before. It's actually your brain getting confused because familiar things start to overlap with your memories. Contrast effect. Look, I usually don't dress in anything special, but when I meet someone wearing sandals and socks, I immediately start feeling like I'm dressed for the red carpet. That's the contrast effect. Comparing something to an extreme makes it seem better or worse than it actually is. Availability heuristic. This is why we are more scared of flying than driving a car. Our brains focus on dramatic, memorable events, like news about planes having problems, even though statistically cars are far more dangerous. Paradox of choice. When my partner and I want to watch a movie, I know we have to count at least 40 minutes before actually picking one. Too many options overwhelm your brain, leaving you less satisfied even when you pick a good one. Sometimes less really is more. Anchoring bias. Trust me, even a $100 t-shirt can feel cheap after the salesperson shows you the $400 one. That's anchoring bias. Your brain latches onto the first number presented, the $400, and uses it as a reference point. So now $100 seems like a good deal, even though it's still just a shirt. Framing bias. This is the reason why a 95% survival rate sounds better than a 5% failure rate. How information is presented significantly changes how we perceive it. even when the facts are identical. Empathy gap. Do you get mad at someone for not understanding how much you struggle? That's because there's an empathy gap. When we're in one emotional state, like angry or stressed, it's hard to imagine what it's like to feel calm or happy. Emotional reasoning. Think of something sad and the world turns gray. Now think of the happiest moment in your life and there's a bit of sunshine, even if it's cloudy. That's emotional reasoning. Very often we let our feelings dictate our reality. So keep in mind, your bad mood doesn't mean your life is actually falling apart. False memory effect. Sometimes we remember things that never actually happened. Our brains are great at filling in gaps, but sometimes it creates entire false memories. But hey, at least something we can argue about with our family during family meetings. To learn about the weirdest things people do, watch the video on your screen now. My name is Matt. Thanks for watching.